Hello, this is Anne-Maree Byworth and I'm interviewing today Yvonne Bakkum from FMO Investment Management, and she's going to tell us a little bit about her mandate, the role that FMO Investment Management plays in their markets of choice. So Yvonne, could you start with a little bit about your mandate perhaps?
Yes, sure, thanks. I'll start with FMO's mandate. FMO is a development finance institution. We were set up in 1970 to promote private sector growth in developing and frontier markets. We've been executing this mandate for over 40 years now, and what we found is that there was a keen interest among institutional investors to join us, to learn from us, to use FMO's experience as a way to start making responsible investments in emerging markets. And when I say emerging markets, I mean a broader set of emerging markets than just the BRIC countries.
Okay. And when you're talking about perhaps attracting or partnering with institutional investors to come into what I can only imagine is some fairly nascent private equity markets, how do you go about that?
Yeah, there's a lot of education involved. One of our propositions, for instance, is a private equity fund of funds for Africa. If you talk about nascent markets, most investors would consider Africa to be one. For us, Africa is not new. We've been investing there for as long as we exist, and we've been one of the early movers in private equity since the early 90s. And what we do, we first explain to investors why Africa is so interesting at this point in time. We find that story is quite well known. So the economic growth, the middle class emergence, and the improvement of business conditions. What's less well known is the state of the private equity market, that you have by now quite a large set of fund managers and funds to choose from, which of course is important because you don't want to be forced to go with the ones that happen to be around. You want to have a good set, and that's what we see now in Africa. The market has really matured. Fund managers are raising their second, third, fourth funds, and as a development finance institution we're very close to many of them, so that gives us good access to co-investment opportunities.
And that must also make you a fairly good reference source for institutional investors actually looking to access these markets, I'm assuming.
That's right. We see that our involvement in certain funds is seen as a stamp of approval. It even goes that far that the regulator in Nigeria has demanded for institutions, local institutions, to become to invest in local private equity funds, that these funds must have DFI investment.
Oh, that's
so
great
talking
news.
About the stamp of approval, that's being recognized.
And so you must play also a really large role, not just in educating the institutional investors that are looking to come in, whether they are a local investor or from further abroad.
Yeah.
You must also play quite a role, I'm assuming, again, in terms of developing these general partners to really develop the inventory for third-party institutional investors to come and invest in the first place, to give them choice.
Yes, we do use our network and our global experience to help these managers build capacity. As we say, we are mainstreaming not only finance but also networks and knowledge to help these managers become better managers. And of course in Africa we started doing that in the early 90s, and in that way we really helped to build the industry. And now we don't need to do hand-holding with some of the more mature managers, but some of the first-time managers we still like to take that role. Yeah.
Okay, this is great stuff. Can I finish with just asking you about what are the best-in-class qualities that you like to see in your fund managers going forward?
Yeah, what I like to see, and that may sound a bit soft, but I like to see real passion for what they're doing, so that they focus on those things they're really good at, that they don't do what investors want them to do, but really work from their own strength. And I was in Kenya last week. There's this great advertising slogan from Coca-Cola saying, "A billion reasons to believe in Africa." And I prefer to work with managers that share that belief, the potential of the continent, the potential of the people, and that applies to Africa, but same for other regions of the world.
Fantastic. Thanks for spending the time with me today.
You're welcome.